So this is the topic Workmen Compensation Reserve, which is part of the admission topic or retirement of a partner or maybe death of a partner. Basically, whenever partnership is getting restructured or reconstituted, so reconstituted or restructuring of a partnership will take place even when there is change in the profit sharing ratio between the partners, maybe at the time of admission of a partner, or maybe if any partner retires or dies. At that point in time, you need to re-look into the reserve which is created or which is set aside for the compensation of workers. So let's say Workmen Compensation Reserve is a reserve which is kept aside by a company or a partnership firm. And at the time of constitution of a partnership, what is to be done? So in that case, first you need to check whether the workman compensation claim is being passed by the workers, whether workers are passing a claim against a company or a partnership firm. If that is the case, then how much workman compensation claim they are demanding for? Is it exactly equal to the reserve? Is it less than the reserve which you have set aside, or it is more than the reserve which you have set aside? So let's assume that there is no workman compensation reserve. If workman compensation reserve is not created or workman compensation claim is not asked by the workers. In that case, you have the reserve which you have created, but workers are not asking for the claim. So in that case, what is to be done? How do we treat the reserve which you have set aside? You are going to basically distribute this workman compensation reserve, we call it as WCR. You need to basically distribute this reserve amongst all the old partners who are or who were existing in the partnership firm. To old partners, capital or current account. Now, when do we credit to capital account and when do we credit to current account? It depends on the method of capital which you are maintaining. Let's say the method which they are maintaining for maintaining the capitals is fluctuating. They are okay if capitals are being fluctuated every year. So in that case, they are going to credit to capital account. And if they have decided that they want to maintain the capital at fixed amount, so in that case, you are going to credit to current account. So WCR, Workmen Compensation Reserve, will be entirely distributed amongst the partners in the old profit sharing ratio. So when a partner is getting admitted, before he enters, all the partners should divide. If any partner is getting retired or he died, at that point in time, before his retirement, the distribution should take place for WCR. Now, let's assume that workers are asking for the claim, and the claim amount which workers have demanded for is exactly equal to the reserve amount. So let's assume that the reserve which you have set aside was 10,000 rupees and workers are demanding the same amount of claim. So if the same amount of claim is being passed, in that case, the reserve which you have created, WCR, will be closed and shifted to WCC account, that is Workmen Compensation Claim account. You can also call it as Provision for Workmen Compensation Claim. So WCR, that is one of the reserve account, will be shifted to provision account. We call it as WCC account. So WCR 10,000 will be debited and WCC or provision for WCC will be credited with the same amount. Basically, you are shifting the reserve to provision account. You have not paid the amount to the workers yet, so never credit bank account. You are going to credit bank account only when the payment is taking place. The second condition is if the reserve which you have created is less than the claim amount. Workers have asked for the claim amount of let's say 8,000 and you had created reserve for 10,000 rupees. So in that case, what is to be done? Let's say they are demanding for 8,000 but you have 10,000 amount. So do you have sufficient amount to pass the claim for? They have asked for 8,000, you have more than that in fact. Right. So you can utilize this entire amount of 10,000 to pass the claim of 8,000. But why do we utilize the entire 10,000? You still have 2,000 left. So you utilize 8,000 entirely and the remaining 2,000 you distribute amongst the partners in their old profit sharing ratio. So before a new partner is being admitted, in case of admission of a partner, you need to distribute this WCR amongst the old partners. So to old partners capital or current account which will be credited by the remaining amount, that is 2,000. So how do we distribute? Let's say there were two partners initially and the new partner is being admitted. So then you credit to A and partner B in the old profit sharing which they had. The third option is where workman compensation claim is more than the reserve which you have created. Let's say you have created a reserve of 10,000. This will be reflected in the balance sheet or liability side. So you have a reserve of 10,000 but workers are asking for a claim of let's say 15,000. Let's assume that workers are demanding 15,000 from you. So you don't have that much amount to be paid as the claim. You have kept aside only 10,000. So in that case, the extra amount of loss which you are going to suffer will be debited to P&L account. But in the middle of the year, we don't create P&L account. P&L account is created at the end of the year only. So at that point in time, you are going to additionally create an account called revaluation account. That revaluation account is extension of P&L account basically. So that 5,000 loss will be debited to revaluation account. You are going to utilize the entire 10,000 of reserve to pay a claim of 15,000, but at the same time you are going to suffer a loss in revaluation account for 5,000. So this is the entry basically which you are going to pass when the claim amount is more than the reserve which you have created. And of course when you are crediting, when you are debiting revaluation account, you are suffering a loss of 5,000 in revaluation account which you need to distribute amongst the partners. And only old partners will be suffering that loss. So old partners account will be debited by that amount and revaluation account will be credited with this amount of 5,000. And that will be distributed amongst the old partners in the old ratio.